a German friend once asked me, aren't you afraid you're over-insured? And I'm like, I'm German. I'm definitely over-insured.
It's the Germany Experience, the podcast about life in Germany as seen through the eyes of outsiders. And get in touch, info@thegermanyexperience.de, or look in the show notes and get hold of me on social media somewhere. And I'm back. I'm back in your feeds. I took a bit of a break over January and February and I think part of December. It's been a long break. But I needed to step away for a bit. But now I'm back and I will be doing weekly episodes until June. I've got them lined up. I've got a whole bunch of cool stuff coming up. I've got writers, I got poets, I got models even. You name it. And I'm also working on some very cool guests for the future. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited for a whole bunch of new episodes until June. And then I'll be going on my summer break. But enough about that. I just finished one break. Let's not talk about the next break just yet. In this first episode back, I'm reposting an episode from my other podcast, Everyday Germany. And if you don't know it, I hang out with Nina, who you also will know from this podcast, The Germany Experience. She's been on a few times. She's a German, and every week on Everyday Germany, we talk about our different perspectives of life in Germany. Mine from a somewhat outsider perspective, but I've been here for a long time. And Nina is a very international German. So we discuss our views and our perspectives of Germany, and we discuss different things about the culture. Go to the website everydaygermany.de and subscribe to the podcast. The link is in the show notes. And as I said, this is an episode that we did for Everyday Germany. And in it, we do a quiz about how German we are. And it was a lot of fun. But before we get to that, I want to read out some listener reviews for the Germany Experience while I was away. Some people left some reviews, which you can also do by going to thegermanyexperience.de/rate. And then you can either leave me a review on my website or you can go to Apple Podcasts or to Spotify. In fact, wherever you listen to podcasts, have a look to see if you can rate the show. And if you like it, give me a rating. Somebody named Dean gave me 5 stars. He said, great job. Very well done, concise, to the point, and very insightful. Thank you very much. Thanks, Dean. Although something I don't think about the podcast is that it's concise or to the point. Sometimes I think it's the opposite of that, but I appreciate that you think it is and that you like it. 5 stars, Supermom left this review on my website. Saving My Sanity is the title. I've been binging this podcast since last August and am now at a loss as I ran out of the episodes. Whoops, sorry about that, Supermom. During the last 6 months, I've been in an endless process of interviews, assessment centers, and contract processes with a German company to move me over from Silicon Valley. Still not done. Well, it wasn't done when she wrote this. I don't know if it's done now. Let me know, Supermom, by the way, if it's done. The variety of guests, stories, and perspectives brought out by the hosts' insightful questions and humor have helped me maintain my sanity and remember the North Star during this time. Getting insight on German job search processes and culture and a reminder of the multiple reasons why we're on this road to relocate our family back to Europe have been invaluable. Please keep on doing what you're doing. And I like to hear that. I like to hear that the podcast is not just me and guests grumbling about Germany and the Germans and the German language, but it's also the people who come on this podcast generally have a love for Germany, and I love Germany. It's why I'm still here 16 years later. So it's always nice to hear that comes across in the podcast as well. So thank you, Supermom, and get in touch with me. Let me know where you are in your journey. And then somebody else who's on a journey is Jennifer, who said that this is also 5 stars, by the way. 5 stars. Invaluable information for a soon-to-be expat. Hi, Shaun. I wanted to let you know how helpful your podcast has been. I've been binging your episodes, still working my way through the early ones, while looking for a job from the US, and feel I'll be much better prepared once stepping foot in Germany because of all the advice and resources I've gotten from you and your guests. So I'm sending a big thank you. You're welcome, Jennifer. And she says, and I hope I can pay it back in the future. Well, you're paying it back by listening, Jennifer. Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much that people listen. But if you did want to donate something to help keep the show going, and I'm not talking to Jennifer here, I'm talking to listeners in general. If you want to help keep the show going, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account where you can make any contribution towards me paying the bills. I don't make a profit from this podcast, but I do need money to pay for things like hosting costs and equipment occasionally and whatever else. So that all helps, but also just listening. And other ways that you can help us, leave reviews and stuff. So there's lots of ways that you can pay it back. Thank you for all those lovely reviews, especially in my break. It was nice to have those reviews coming in to remind me of why I do the podcast. And speaking of the podcast, as I said, here's the episode that Nina and I did. And it actually, just to take you a step back, the story about this episode is that way back on the Germany Experience podcast, I interviewed someone named Fadi from the UK who was living in Germany. And he had written a book called The Germans. And his name is Fadi Gaziri, if you want to look for the book. And I'll put the link in the show notes. And at the end of this book, there was a quiz called How German Are You? Where you could answer a whole bunch of questions and figure out if you answered yes to any of the questions, they would add up. And I think if you got 8 or something, you were German. So Nina and I did this to see which one of us was more German or is more German. And of course, Nina is actually a German, but that doesn't mean anything. We just thought who's actually more German in the way that they are. And you can hear us discussing that in this episode. And as I said, it's from Everyday Germany, my other podcast. Go and subscribe to it, everydaygermany.de. Here's Nina and me deciding how German we are. How you doing, Nina?
Good. How are you doing, Shaun?
I'm fine. And this week's episode, we're just going to jump into it with no small talk. What we're going to do is we're going to do a test to see how German we are. So that, listeners who maybe don't know the history of Nina and Shaun and different podcast episodes we've done, across 1,000 podcasts.
We did.
The feeling is there's a bit of a history to this. So where was it? Was it on our
No, it was
German
on your podcast.
On the Germany Experience, we spoke about something. Jugendwort. It was the Jugendwort, and it was Köftespieß or something like that.
And I didn't know what a Köftespieß is.
And you didn't know what a Köftespieß was. So I think one of the words that year was Köftespieß, and you didn't know what a Köftespieß is. And then one of the listeners of the podcast to send us a comment on YouTube, because then we had YouTube videos up, saying you cannot be German if you don't know what a Köftespieß is. You're allegedly German.
I think it's also because I said it's probably something like a Dönerspieß, and I think some of your listeners had heart attacks.
Yeah, and it was like kebab. Okay, it's a kind of kebab or something I don't know.
It's meat on a stick.
It's meat on a stick. Who cares what you call it, right? It doesn't even matter. But but one of the things that I found funny about that is because you actually are, as far as the Germans that I know, very non-German. You're not like a typical German. You're friendly. You're always joking. You're always smiling. You're very loud.
That's because I like you.
No, well, it's even when it's not around. I can hear you if we're colleagues, and I can hear you if you're in a different wing of the building.
Sorry,
but it's nice, and that's why you're such a friend to foreigners. I think as well. You connect a lot with foreigners. So
you should put that on my LinkedIn, friend to foreigners.
Friend to foreigners, yeah. That on your every CV that you ever do, friend to foreigners. Nina, friend to foreigners. But you are actually, you were going to say, half German.
Yes,
you're half German and half American.
But this test is the one to determine.
Yes. So this test is a test called "How German Are You?" and it comes from a book called The Germans. The Germans, an expat's guide to living in Germany is what the book is called. And it was written by someone named Fadi Gaziri, and he is from the UK originally, and he was on the Germany Experience as a guest twice. I had him twice as a guest on the Germany Experience, and he's one of these annoying people who has done everything. Yeah, he's so annoying.
Okay. He climbed Mount Everest. He saved someone by giving his liver or something.
Wouldn't surprise me, Nina. Wouldn't surprise if you could actually be reading from a biography on Wikipedia about the guy, to be honest. It wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, he's one of these guys that has done everything. So he is an incredible musician. He's written songs. He worked a lot on cruise ships, being a pianist on cruise ships.
Nice.
He also tried to write. He entered a song for the Eurovision Song Contest last year.
Cool. I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah. So that's this guy, right? And he's just there's when he was on the cruise ships, he went to the North Pole. He also went to the South Pole. So he's been to both. He's literally been to both. Like I said, one of those annoying people who has pretty much done everything and just incredible. He also wrote soundtracks for documentaries that you can find here in Germany, like German documentaries. He wrote some soundtracks for those. So I'll link to his details in the thing. But the point is, in this book, The Germans, it's a book written in English about life in Germany for foreigners, his own experience, but also tips and like survival guide
navigating Germany
in German, yeah. And he is very sarcastic towards Germans and the German culture. I'm sure in a loving way.
I think I want to read that book now.
Yeah, it's very funny. But right towards the end, he's got a chapter called "How German Are You? The Ultimate Test." And what he does is he's asked a whole bunch of questions that will give away the fact of that, like whether you're a true German or not. And the way it works, I think there's about, if I'm not mistaken, 15 or 16 questions. And we're going to go through all of them, Nina, you and me.
That's a lot.
They're all entertaining and interesting, and they say a lot about German culture. So but yeah, it sounds like a lot. It won't be that much, Nina.
Okay.
And so if you answer yes, it's pretty much a point. So I'm going to try and keep track of our points. So how German do you think you are, Nina? Like just before we even start this.
I read the question. You sent me the questions beforehand. I read them. Funnily, I think this test probably says I'm more German than we expected me to be.
Yeah, well, let's see. Let's go through these and see what we come up with. Right. So I've got the spreadsheet. I got Nina. I'm going to write a little yes every time you answer a yes, and yes every time I answer a yes, and then afterwards I just count up the yeses and see. So this is the introduction to the exercise. He says, "Here's something for expats living in Germany." I mean, you're not an expat, Nina, but we're doing this on you anyway. Yes, and keep in mind that I've been here for 15 years, so there's a good chance that I'm going to be pretty German on this test. Here's something for expats living in Germany. How do you know when you've been in Germany for too long? If you answer yes to 8 or more questions, then it's time to buy yourself a pair of lederhosen and change your surname to Schmidt. That's what it says. That's the introduction. So, I mean, you could also buy a dirndl if you're.
I have both, so I'm prepared.
You have lederhosen.
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I can't say that every Bavarian. I mean, I'm a Bavarian myself, but every Bavarian's gonna murder me. They're little red lederhosen.
All right, there we go. I also have lederhosen, by the way, but that's beside the point. That's neither here nor there. So let's start. Are you ready to start?
Yeah,
How German are you, Nina? And we're going to start with the first question. You enjoy curry-flavored ketchup.
No, and I hate currywurst.
So that is what this question is about, actually, is the Germans' love for currywurst. And if you haven't had it, you have to have had currywurst if you've been in Germany for anything longer than 2 weeks. It's like a curry powder that they put in ketchup. And yeah, I also didn't like it in the beginning because it's pretty strong. It's not like super spicy or anything, but the flavor is pretty overwhelming.
Different types of curry ketchup or Gewürz ketchup or whatever you want to call it. And here in Nuremberg, you have the Wurstdurst, which is, well, you know how at midnight you go for a dinner when you're drunk, you could also go for a fucking currywurst. And they have like 8 different curry sauces, like curry ketchup sauces you can choose from. Still hate it.
even like when you're drunk and coming after a party, not going to have it. Rather doner.
I'd rather be hungry.
I can tell you that having a doner was a revelation for me when I moved to Germany. Like when you've been out drinking and it's 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the morning, and then there's an open doner place and you go for a doner. Oh my God, that is like one of the best things you can.
My last doner I think I had in September, and I was coming home from a night out, and I think I hadn't had a doner at that point, I don't know, in 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And I wasn't that drunk and I wasn't that hungry, but you know, like this lack of doner intake for a couple of months, and then I walk past these like doner shop, and it smells delicious.
It does. It really does.
I'm like, I'm just gonna get myself a doner. I'm not hungry and I'm not that drunk, but I deserve a doner.
I've earned it. I will say this though: doners smell absolutely fantastic if you're hungry. But the moment you've eaten and you're so full, and like for me, there's like you're either hungry and about to eat a doner, or you're completely stuffed with the doner. You've had so much. Like there's no doner that's the perfect amount. No. There's always too much. Like you eat it and you're so full afterwards, and then that smell is quite like not so attractive anymore once you've eaten a doner. But anyway, we're digressing right now, Nina. So let's get back on track. So that's a yes for me, by the way, because I didn't like it at first. Now I love currywurst. I love currywurst.
Do you also like the soggy fries that come with the
Yeah,
currywurst?
yes. Yes, and that little fork thing that you give, and then you can, like, it's fine for the dry fries, but when you get to the fries that are soaking in the currywurst sauce, and they're all like slushy, and then they just like, it's like pretty much drinking your fries at some point. No? Okay, Nina doesn't seem to be like that. I like it. That's a yes for me, so I've already got one yes. It's not looking good for me. The next one. You own a Jack Wolfskin jacket.
I do not, but I own a North Face jacket, and I
Yes,
don't know
me
if this is
too.
the same thing.
I was going to say, does North Face count? Because I do. So I would put it in the same category. I'm inclined to give us a half a point each.
Give us a half a point.
I think so. So Jack Wolfskin is a
Outdoor. Or is it really outdoor? Is it more like pseudo outdoor?
Yeah, I think maybe like, I don't know. I don't want to say fashion. I think fashion's giving it too much of a credit.
It's German fashion, like Birkenstock
German
are.
fashion. Yeah, exactly. Birkenstock and Jack Wolfskin, I think, are very, very German. So I would say, yeah, it's outdoorsy fashion. And North Face is
functional fashion.
Functional fashion. Very good. That's a very good point. And I would put Jack Wolfskin maybe one level, like North Face is not quite at that level of Jack Wolfskin. That is very German, like Jack Wolfskin.
Yeah.
Because you see people like wearing Jack Wolfskin everywhere, like everywhere. They'll go to work in it, and they'll go to the shops, maybe even church. I don't know. They wear it everywhere. Okay, so that's a half a point for each of us because of our North Face clothing. The next one is you recycle your bottles and separate the rubbish.
Yes.
And of course you do. I think the moment you're living in Germany, this is something you have to do because most places have rules about this. So,
and you also get fined if you don't do so.
And you get fined if you don't do it. I think it's yes, and it's going to be yes for most of the foreigners. So I'm going to give us a point. This one almost seems a little unfair because, but it is strange. I do remember how strange this was when I first moved to Germany, like all of the separating of the garbage and stuff like that. And I know that a lot of foreigners who come here are like, wow, that's amazing that you separated your garbage like that.
And by the way, if you're at a German's household, I think one of the first so you have dinner there or drinks, first question you always ask, where's the trash and do you separate?
Yeah. So this is
standard small talk.
Standard small talk at a party. Okay, so I've gotten us a both a one there. I mean, that's pretty basic stuff. Next question. Actually, I've got a 1 on 2 of these questions already and a half on the other one. So I'm pretty much, I just need another.
You're German.
Yeah. When you answer the phone, you say your last name first.
Depends on what phone I'm answering.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm at my parents' house and it's the landline that's ringing, I always say the last name first because it's the Wooten residence. It's not my phone. You know what?
Right.
If I answer my cell phone, people have made fun of this because I talk very fast in German. And what I say is, yes, this is Nina Wooten. So in German, it's ja, Nina, das ist Nina Wooten. And apparently, because I say it so fast, it sounds like I'm saying Jasna Wooten.
Jasna Wooten. But why do you say ja? Oh, because you're saying ja, like yes? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's Nina Wooten.
So people made fun of me for saying Jasna Wooten.
But that's also funny that you say your full name. Like you may not say your last name first, but you're saying your full name even when you're when you're answering your cell phone.
Yeah, unknown numbers. Yeah,
of course. Yes,
if it's my friends, I just literally go like, yeah.
Yeah,
what do you want?
Yeah. Or like, hey, yeah, like just.
No, I don't say hey, because if my friends call me, they want something. My generation doesn't do phone calls. Right. Don't forget that.
Okay, so if you're getting a fucking phone call, is that someone wants something? Someone needs,
or someone's dying. You can't waste words.
We need to get to the point in case this is an emergency. Okay, so for me, I have. Again, just like you say, for unknown numbers or numbers that I don't recognize, or if I'm answering my landline here, because I never know who's calling on that, I always say Behrens Hallo. That is my official Behrens, and that is fucking German.
That is very German.
That is something that I did not do in South Africa. And when I first got here, it was always like,
how did you pick that up?
I would be like, hi, it's Shaun. I don't know how I picked that up. I think it's just from hearing the Germans do it, and also when you phone Germans, they always pick up with their just by saying their last names, and some of them don't even say hello; they just go Behrens, or Schmidt, or whatever, and that's it. That's all you get. Like you don't even get a hello. Like do I speak now? Is it my turn? So I'm going to put myself, I get a 1 on that, Nina.
You can give me a half or a 1. I don't know.
I think I'm going to give you a half because you don't say the last name first. And this question kind of says you answer the phone, you say your last name first, which you don't do. Jasna wouldn't.
Jasna wouldn't.
This is something, it's a bit unfair. We can't really judge ourselves on this anymore because we've spoken about it before, but you know where Chemnitz is on a map?
I do.
Chemnitz is, and it's in the, and I do too now, like we've had this discussion.
Yeah.
But the fact is we know where Chemnitz is on a map for whatever reason. So that's a 1 for both of us. Where is it, Nina, just for listeners who may not know offhand? It's in the east, right?
It's in the east of Germany, yeah.
Yeah. Go look it up on Google Maps.
If people know where Dresden is, like round about that area.
But also, if you're listening to this podcast, you know how the internet works. So go use the internet and see where Chemnitz is, like everybody else had to. Next one is you arrange a dinner with your friends several weeks in advance and send everyone your address with a Google Maps printout. No? Yeah, you're pretty spontaneous.
I mean, it's the same thing as I might have agreed to a plan weeks ago, and then the day comes and my brain's telling me, hey, there was something. And I'm like, somehow I'll figure out what I agreed to. Like today, are we on for today? I'm like, oh, that was it.
There was something, but like what's funny about that is like we're on for every Wednesday, and sometimes Nina just forgets. Like today, I messaged you a few hours before we started recording. And you're like, oh yeah, that was a thing today. And other times, like I'm sitting there on a Tuesday or something, and I'm like, oh shit, I've got plans with Nina. Like I don't, like I've said it before. I don't know how we even get this podcast recorded, but we do. We do. It works somehow. So you don't arrange a dinner weeks in advance, and if you do, then chances you'll forget. That's not very German of you, Nina. Like that's
guilty. Well, you have children, so I guess this question is also.
It's for me, yes. So there's, I have to give myself a 1 because a yes because it does happen. I have to give myself a yes because this does happen. I'm going to give you, you don't get anything on this. You pretty much answered no. But for me, we have family friends that we do have. I mean, we make plans with some of our family friends for 3 months in advance.
Oh my, no.
Yeah. Promise you. This is like it has to be done because their calendars are so full, our calendars are so full, but we know we want to see each other sometime. And if anything comes in between, like someone gets sick or something happens, we have to schedule something, and it's usually another 3 months in advance. So months can go by. So that we do have a set of friends where that's the case. I don't, like, the second part of this doesn't apply to me. Like I don't send everybody my address with a Google Maps printout. I think what Fadi is making a joke about there is the digitalization thing in Germany. Like you still send a Google Maps printout to people, but I mean, no one does that. That you send a Google Maps location in WhatsApp or whatever. But it's still a yes for me because of the weeks in advance. But I have my spontaneous friends, like the people who would come to me and say, hey, what about Saturday? Are we doing something? And then I'll check if it's fine with my wife and the family, and then we'll go and do that. So they're like, there's 2 sets of friends, but there is the occurrence where I set up dinner dates like months and months in advance. So far, Nina, I am way more German than you.
I knew this, but we're getting into the good ones.
I've got 5.5. I just need another 2.5 points to be full on German. Next one. Your way of thinking has changed from results-oriented to process-oriented. In other words, it is more important to follow a structure and do everything as instructed rather than actually getting a result.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah? Yes. That's you.
I don't mind. First of all, my job description is business process manager, so yes.
Okay. So there you go.
Second of all, I don't mind. I know people will complain, but why am I doing this? I'm like, save yourself some time. Just do it.
Just do it. It's you know what? In Germany, it's easier to just fucking do it than try and question the process. Yes. Just do it. Just do it. I think this is for me also. It's been a big change because I'm very much a results person, and for me, It doesn't matter if you follow the rules. It doesn't matter if you can explain how you got to the point where you got to. It's just I like to get to the result and allow for some creativity in between. And I hate having like checkpoints and milestones and things that have to be filled out and done and completed and checked off a list and stuff like that. But it's something that I have to do because I have to do it because a lot of the processes in the workplace and wherever are like that. But I would still not give me a yes because I don't like to do it and I haven't developed to that point where there's a whole process to things, and it's also kind of a fault of mine, I would say, but it's a definite no for me. But it's a yes for you.
It's a yes for me.
Mm-hmm. That's a yes for Nina. So that is pretty much the mindset in German, is like the processes, and that's where the bureaucracy comes from. But that's a whole other podcast for another day. You don't mind watching an English series in German?
No.
You don't mind, or you don't do it?
I do mind, so okay. I don't do it. That's a no. One exception, Shrek. I can't, or anything that has Eddie Murphy in it. Eddie Murphy is way funnier in German. Like his German.
What?
His German dubbed voice is so unique. And I mean, of course, when I was little, there was no Netflix. So if you wanted to watch a movie, you had to watch it on German TV. Right. So Eddie Murphy with me is associated with that dubbed voice. So the first time I saw Shrek in English, the donkey came on screen. I'm like, nope.
No. Nope. Nope. That's not the Shrek we know.
Nope.
Really? I need to listen to his voice in German. I'm very curious now.
It is so unique, this voice. Like, never heard any other dubbed voice sound like that, because it's like not he doesn't shriek, but listen to it and you'll know what I understand. It's like the most annoying voice ever. And since he mostly does comedy stuff, it kind of fits. And so first time, and I mean, the donkey is supposed to be a super annoying character.
Yes, so he is supposed to be.
When I heard his regular English voice, I was like, no. And do you know that there's actually Ice Age, the sloth?
Yeah.
Sid. So the creators of Ice Age saw the German dubbed actor voice person Otto Walkes.
Okay.
And they made Sid in the second movie more like Otto, like how he does the German one. Yes.
Because they love the vibe that this guy brings to the sloth. Okay, I just. So
there is very rare instances where I say the German version is better, but usually no way. Yeah, no way.
You need to watch it in English.
Yeah.
Well, this is me. I've been here for 15 years in Germany, and I still to this day cannot watch synchronized things. I just need to.
Also, probably then you're like me. Lip synchronization is super important.
It's super important. Yeah. It's very, very important to me. So yeah, that's the situation there. So yeah, I'm with you, Nina. That's also a hard no from me, and it goes for anything really. If even French TV shows or whatever that are synchronized into German, I would rather watch it with the original tone and see the subtitles underneath and listen to it with dubbed German. I just can't do it. So that's a no. Thank God. You've stopped apologizing.
Yes and no. Depends very much on the situation. I run into you in the street. I might actually be at fault. I'll actually say, eh.
That's not Nina. That's not an apology.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not apologizing. I'm doing the German. I'm doing the German thing. I'm like, hey.
Okay. Oh, Germans. Yeah, you do have a German streak in you every now and then. So what is that? So you've stopped apologizing. That's a no for you.
It's a point for me. I don't know if it's a yes or no. I definitely stopped apologizing in certain situations.
Yeah. So let's put it this way. You don't apologize.
Yes.
Yeah. And funny enough, you're still pretty polite, and
doesn't mean I'm impolite. Yeah,
exactly. You're I think that's a lot of the times that when foreigners are here and Germans are not apologizing. And something Fadi said in his interview with me as well. He'll be like, people will come right up into your space in the supermarket and knock into you or whatever, and they won't say sorry. And he will say sorry for them. Like, and that's that's a lot of foreigners apologize, even if somebody else should be apologizing. Like, it's just second nature for us. And
you know what you do as a German? You just take a long, hard look at them.
Yeah, just
and
stare.
they slowly walk out of your space.
You see, that's something you got to learn as a foreigner. So this is it's a difficult one for me. I think it's a no because I still apologize a lot. I do it a lot, but I have become more mindful of it. Like when I'm in a situation and then something happens, I tell myself, but I have to physically tell myself, don't say sorry. You don't need to say sorry to the German
It's
in this
not your
situation.
fault. Like,
It's like no one's even angry, no one's irritated. There's no reason. You're just gonna come across as weird if you apologize.
yes.
So that and that is something that I've learned, but it's not an instinctive thing. I still have to tell myself, don't just shut up. And sometimes in those situations, I still go ahead and apologize and say, I'm sorry. So that is a no for me. I'm still not German in that sense. Next one is, you've got a Haftpflichtversicherung. And I mean, I don't even know what kind of question this is from Fadi. Of course, we both.
It's like a yes and a yes and a yes. I got a Haftpflichtversicherung. I got a glass insurance. I got a furniture insurance.
Yes.
Like, yes.
Yes, exactly. It was one of the first things we did was learn what a Haftpflichtversicherung when
It's
my
a
wife and I
great
arrived.
insurance.
I think it was within the first month. Several people told us, you need Haftpflichtversicherung.
Your kid ruins something, don't worry. That's what you got Haftpflicht for.
Exactly. So that's what. So just to explain what it is, it's insurance, but it's to cover you if you
Break
do something that leaves you liable for damages.
Yeah.
So you I don't know. Like you said, your kid breaks something in the supermarket, or you accidentally run over someone's. I don't know. Like, there's tons of stuff that you could do.
You trip and fall, and I don't know. There's a bike parked, and you fall against a bike. It falls over. I don't know. Something is bent. Yeah, that's exactly what your Haftpflicht is for.
Yeah. So then your Haftpflicht will kick in and pay the damages that you are liable for. And like I said, when we came here, several people told us this is what you need. And within a month of us arriving here, we had Haftpflichtversicherung.
See? Yeah.
Within a month. It's ridiculous. And I think that most foreigners also end up getting this pretty early on. I think. I'm not sure. I should actually. If you're a foreigner listening to this and living in Germany, I'd love to know about, like, do you have Haftpflichtversicherung? And when did you get it? Like, how long did it take? Write to us at the email address that's in the show notes.
Yeah. And actually, a German friend once asked me, aren't you afraid you're over-insured? And I'm like, I'm German. I'm definitely over-insured.
It's like 100% over-insured. And don't even think about getting a house, buying property, because, my God, the number of insurances that you have to get is insane. It's through the roof. Anyway, so yes, that's a yes from both of us. You never cross at a red light is the next one.
Not true.
Mm-hmm.
Not 95% of cases, I do not cross a red light. But come on, it's 3 a.m. in the morning. It's raining. I am not waiting on that red light.
Yeah. And I think this is one of the stereotypes of Germany, that people I think people are better at waiting for green lights than other countries. Like, if I think about Johannesburg in South Africa, or the town where I grew up, my God, it's like the Wild West. People are just crossing the road anywhere, everywhere, anytime. Whereas in Germany, there's order. There is, like, the chances are people are waiting, especially if it's a busy road. If it's in the cities,
if
people wait.
If there's kids around,
if there's kids around, they don't cross because they want to set a good example for the kids. So in general, I think it's good. But, like, come on, if there's a quiet street, it's red. You're not waiting.
Yeah, no.
Cross. Come on. So yeah, that's a no from us. Generally, I mean, like, because it specifically says you never cross it.
Exactly.
And I'd be willing to go so far as to say that's a stereotype about Germany. That's not correct. It's like no jaywalking thing. The next one is, you go to your doctor at least 12 times a year. And I think Fadi picked a high number for this just to make a point.
I get what he's getting at. And so I don't go 12 times a year, but I do my regular checkups. And actually, so our listeners don't know that 2 years ago, I got my thyroid removed. So every 3 months, I have to go pick up my medicine, like my little survival packet. And my mom works at the doctor's office. So what I often do is just like, hey, Mom, like, can you get the little paper for me?
Yeah.
And I get, but sometimes, like, her boss is on vacation, or she's on vacation, or I'm not like visiting my parents. So sometimes I actually do have to go to the doctor. And I called them. It was last week of October. I'm like, hey, I need a new prescription, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, yeah, all right. 5 minutes later, she calls me back and she's like, oh, actually, your doctor is saying she hasn't seen you in over a year. She wants to do a blood test and actually wants to talk to you. And I'm like, damn, I have to go in. It's not just picking up my prescription.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yes.
And there's certain appointments that you actually have to do to stay not insured, but to get better coverage. So, for example, dentist once a year.
Yes. Dentist, you
and
have to go once a
as
year.
a woman, the OB-GYN.
The gynecological
Gynecologist. Yeah.
gynecology, the
Yes.
gynecological gynecologically whatever those visits
Yeah.
you have to do fairly regularly. Yes, so yes, you do have to go to a doctor, and I think also what the point Fadi is trying to make here is that Germans are a lot more at the doctor than some other countries like the US, because I guess because the healthcare is
I have this
better here.
argument with my boyfriend every time. He's like, I like working out. I
Who's
sprained.
American, by the way? Your
Yeah,
boyfriend's American.
who's
Yeah.
American, who lives in America.
Yeah.
And he's like, I sprained something and it's not getting better. And I'm like, go to the doctor.
Go
And he's
to the
like,
doctor.
no.
Yeah. It's complete
And
different
I'm like,
mindset.
it's not getting better.
Yeah.
Go to the doctor. Oh, and then I mean, this is a stupid example, but I don't know. Not a sore throat, because for a sore throat, you go to the pharmacy and you just get your medication. But like something weird, I'm like, get that checked out.
Yeah, just go.
Like,
but
it's not that serious. And I'm like,
it could be.
It could
just go
be,
and
or
see.
maybe if you don't go now, it could get worse, you know?
Yes, exactly. But you say you don't go for a sore throat, but I think the reason that people go so often to the doctor in Germany is because
A test.
to get the attest, the certificate, the sick note. So if you're going to be sick for more than 3 days, you need a sick note, and the way you get a sick note is if you go to the doctor and the doctor gives you your sick note, and then you got a sick note, and you get, so because of that, I think Germans tend to go to the doctor more often than other countries as well, because you need to get that sick note to stay off work. But also, it's not like, I think the mindset is different because it doesn't cost that much. If you're feeling a bit sick and you're unsure, could it be a viral infection that's going to get worse, or is the cough in my chest, or is it in my whatever? You just go to the doctor. You just go check it out, and it's the easiest thing to do, and it's not expensive, and you don't even think twice about it.
One thing I noticed, for example, where I never think about twice, is vaccinations. The most I had to pay for vaccination was the yellow fever vaccination. It was like 25 euros. And I thought that was expensive until I looked up prices in the US.
Really?
Because something, I don't know, it might be because I grew up like with my mom working for doctors. So something I've been is like, I want to actually get the pox vaccine, because like knowing about how terrible that disease can be, I'm like, I want the best chance. Like,
yes.
The chance of catching any pox disease is probably like below 5% for me. But just in case.
Why not?
So in Germany or in Europe, they don't have the pox vaccine anymore because it doesn't exist anymore. So I was like, I'll just get it in the US. And then I saw like $300. I'm like, I'll
$300.
I'm like, I'll guess I'll die of the pox. It's okay.
I'm going to take my chances with the pox. You know what? If there's not a catchphrase from this podcast, if that's not the podcast catchphrase, I don't know what it is. I'm going to take my chances with the pox. Oh God, yeah. So I don't know how to score us on this. I would say that I get what he's saying. Like,
I get what he's saying, and I think,
but it's not 12 times.
Yeah,
we don't go 12 times.
So give us a half a point.
I'm going to give us a half a point because I think we've got a German mindset.
Yes,
I think you're right.
We do. I definitely do.
Mindset. Me too. I just need one more point, by the way, to put me into German territory.
You'll get that with the next one.
7 overall. You think so?
Yeah.
Let me see what the next one is. Yes, you're right. I got another yes. The one is, you know what the words Bescheinigung and Gutachten mean. And yes, I do, Nina.
And we talked about this before, German bureaucracy. Nothing works without having an official paper of some sort.
Bescheinigung, yeah. So Bescheinigung can be anything. It's just like a
written note confirming something.
A written note that confirms that an expert has said whatever you're saying is true. So like I don't know, like a Bescheinigung that I'm from South Africa. Like they check my birth certificate and whatever. I don't know, like that's a bad example, but a Bescheinigung, just a proof about something.
Yeah.
Some kind of a thing. And Noor is another one of our colleagues. He was one of the early guests on the Germany experience. And his episode was Don't Forget Your Gungs, because it's Bestätigung, Bescheinigung. It's there was a whole lot of gungs that he mentioned. And like he says that gungs are very important in Germany. And the other one is a Gutachten, is an inspection, basically.
Inspection, yeah. For like buying a house or...
Exactly. or someone, or a value of a car, or the value
Yeah.
of something, you get a Gutachter who comes in and gutachts, basically. And
Inspect.
generally, you get a Bescheinigung from the Gutachten. So they do the
Exactly.
inspection, and then they say, okay, and then they give you a Bescheinigung. So, yes, Nina, we both know what those are.
Yeah,
And
that's
we
a
both
point.
get a full yes for that one. Full point. And that makes me German, by the way. Officially. Ding, 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 ding. Shaun is a German. Time to get my Lederhosen and change my name to Schmidt. But there's more questions. That's not where it ends, Nina. You always follow up with an explanation. So, in other words, weil or because. So you give an answer is what he's saying, and then you always go weil, and then you explain your thinking.
So again, with like you never cross a red light, or you go to the doctor at least 12 times.
Yeah.
I do not always follow up my statements with a explanation, but yeah.
You do it. You do it a lot. You're always, I think you're very typical
Yes.
German in this regard.
And I can also tell you, Germans get mad if you don't let them explain it. Like, I will get very mad if you will not let me explain my statement.
Yeah, so true. They want you to know what they're talking about. They want you to know.
Again, my boyfriend, sometimes when I enter these explanation moods, he'll just say, "Oh God, here we go again," and then I'm like, "Oh no, you did not even listen to what I'm going to say." He's like, "Does not matter.
Yeah,
nothing good comes beyond this point."
Exactly. It's just all this adding information. So you give your answer. Would you recommend this? Yes, I would, because blah blah blah, 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 and you're just basically giving more information than anyone ever asked in the beginning. And I would give myself a yes on that as well, because
it's kind of like our fine print, I think.
It is. I think the Germans like to make sure that you're understanding the context of what they're talking about, and it also goes into this like analytical mindset that Germans have. And I do it because I've learned that there is more information required by the Germans.
Yes, we also expect
otherwise they will ask you. Otherwise you'll get asked. So
if I asked, basically I could ask you a yes or no answer, a question, and you give me a yes or no answer, and I'm like, and
yeah, give me
where's the rest?
Exactly. Don't just leave me with a yes. Just, like, tell me why. How did you show your thinking? Is what it's basically.
How did you arrive at that conclusion?
How did you arrive at this answer? Germans. So yes, that's a yes for both of us. And Nina, I'm going to give you an update on your score. It is 7.5 with all your halves. So you're pretty close to being German as well. I mean,
yes,
I would expect you to be a German because you're a German. The next one is you capitalize all nouns in English.
No.
Me neither. Like, it's very separate to me. Like, doing that in Germany, that's something you do in German, but I never do it in English. I spend a lot of time fixing it up because I do a lot of language checks from German speakers.
I let them have it.
Yeah, I can't do that. Because like a lot of the stuff that I'm checking is official stuff that's going to be in the public eye. So I need to make sure it's proper English. And I spend so much of my day fixing up capitalized nouns in English that I will never do it myself. Like, it just will never happen. So yeah, that's a no from both of us. You spell English words with SCH instead of SH.
No,
me neither.
I'm like, how is that a German trait? Like, no.
I must say I haven't seen it done before either. I don't think it's I don't think it's valid.
No,
we don't think it's valid, Fadi. Good book though, nice book. Love the rest of the questions. I don't know what's going on with this one. The next one is you say "aua" when you get hurt. So,
and now ding 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 ding. I am German. Yes, I say "aua" because it's way nicer than "ouch."
Yeah. Okay.
And you can actually also. So I grew up with siblings,
Right.
And if they pinch you or something, saying "aua" sounds way more passive aggressive than
that's exactly
ouch.
It. Yeah, that's exactly it. That is why I'm also getting a yes on this one, because after I discovered "aua" and it sounded a little strange to me in the beginning, "aua," I've just adopted it, and especially with kids that are in German kindergartens. I've got 3 kids in German kindergarten and so on. So they do it, I do it, everyone. And now no one says "ouch" anymore in our household. That we just all go "aua." But exactly what you just said, I love that little. You don't get that with "ouch." You could go "ouch." but it's more about the tone. It doesn't bring the same. But when you're like, oh, he's like, aua. It doesn't only say that you've hurt me, but it says you fucking ass. Like, what did you do that for? So beautiful.
And the same thing, if I hit my toe or something, I will never say ouch because it sounds too cute. I go for a ow.
Yeah. So that's a yes from both of us. And that was the one that pushed you over the edge, isn't it?
Awa.
Yeah, awa. That would be it. That would be the thing that pushed you over the edge. And then there's one last one. Last but not least, you think that making Hitler jokes is inappropriate.
I get what he's saying, and I have to say, in 99% of cases, I think they're inappropriate. But I do like to make my own Nazi jokes because I can.
Yeah.
But I think he's getting more at Germans don't have humor. And actually, last Friday, I went to a stand-up comedy show, and I thought I would enjoy it. And as soon as we got to sex jokes that weren't about just like having weird sex or something, but about like, it wasn't a rape joke, but it was very close. I was over it. And I had a whole discussion with, again, my boyfriend that night about it. And he's like, he did not imply that. I'm like, yes, he did, and you know it. He's like, just enjoy the goddamn joke. I'm like, no.
So I think Fadi's making 2 points here, if I understand like this question. First of all is, but like they don't have a sense of humor and they take certain things very seriously. And one of those things that they take very, very seriously in general in Germany is Nazi jokes or Hitlerism because it is still such a stigma. You don't condone that stuff at all. Like the Holocaust to Hitler and stuff, it's actually illegal to deny the Holocaust. It's so there's like and it is rightfully so. Like I think that's rightfully so. So I think that's the point he's getting. Like the Germans are super uptight about Nazi and extreme right wings and so on. And also, but I think the point is that they can't laugh at it. But yeah, I think Germans are more aware of it. But that being said, I find Germans have a very irreverent sense of humor as well. It's one of the things I do love about German sense of humor is a lot of them do like that inappropriate joke. They won't just make those jokes with anyone as like their close friends. They'll make it with, and they can be brutally funny. Like Germans can really be politically incorrect in their humor.
Yes,
but they wouldn't be open. They're not necessarily open with it. So and that's what I like.
Closeted humor. It does not. It's not out and proud.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's like I have to know you. I have to know that you're going to understand and know where this is coming from. That I'm not meaning it seriously, but and then they make their irreverent jokes, which I think is maybe the same for everyone. But I find with Germans they can be really, really.
It's a
irreverent.
if the humor comes out, it's usually a very dry kind of humor, and I think you also. It's not only that we only use it with close friends and family, you have to be able to get the humor because it's not this TV American humor that makes everyone haha.
Yeah,
it's that humor that you might need to think for a second and then you're like, oh,
yeah. So I would say to answer the question here, it's a yes from me because I do. I think from where he's asking the question from, yes, I do also think that it's inappropriate, even though I do like irreverent humor, and I do like to be politically incorrect every now and then in a way that's not harmful. I mean, we could talk a lot about humor and this kind of thing. It's not for you, but it's a yes for me. I do think it's inappropriate, and Nina is yes for me too, right?
Yes. So
okay.
I'm at 8 or 9 points.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you the scores now. Those were all the questions. I hope you were keeping track listening to this so that you know how German you are. And I would love to hear, Nina and I would love to hear from you how German you were. Get all of us on our social media channels or at our email and let us know how German you are. And also buy Fadi's book. It's a very funny book. I'll put the link in the show notes as well. So Nina, your score after all of that is 9.5.
Wow.
So you're more German than I expected, to be honest.
That's what I said. I read the questions.
You did. Yeah. Damn. My score is pretty much off the charts, and I am more German than a German that was born in Germany, according to this test. I have 11 points.
Wow.
Including all my 11. Out of a maximum of probably like 15 or 16. I can't remember how many there were. So yeah. All right. So good to know how German we are, Nina.
We both deserve our passports.
We've earned it.
And our lederhosen in our closets.
Yes, exactly. So there we go. There we go. I had people who were very proud of me, just to tell you how German I am today. And this is more like a local thing, like where we are in Franconia. I had a water bottle that I was drinking from at work that I hadn't finished. So I put it on the counter in the kitchen and I wanted to put my name on it.
Oh, I saw it.
You did? Instead of just saying Shaun, like labeling it Shaun, I went Shaun Seins, which is the way that the Franconians say it's Shaun's. Yeah, there we go. Nina's got it. Shaun Seins. That's my bottle of water. I labeled it like the Franconians would, and I got a lot of comments about that. I kind of did it in a to be funny in a way, but I didn't like. I was also labeling it as mine. Like I've seen Franconians
making sure no one else drinks out of your bottle.
Yeah, Shaun Seins. It's very clear. Very clear. All right, Nina, that was a fun chat as always, and we'll talk again next week.
See ya, Shaun.
See ya, Nina. Thanks for listening. As I said, info@thegermanyexperience.de with any messages or questions or feedback that you might have for me. I will talk to you next week. Auf Wiederhören.